You know what it is?
What?
When you go into that voting booth and you press the button, pull a lever, check the box, tap the screen.
Yeah.
That simple action is the
it's
largest
American.
collective FU to every single lie from the media.
Yep.
To every single for every single time the Democrats told you Antifa didn't exist, they were a myth, the violence isn't real. When you in your area experienced it, when your shop was shut down by these governors, when your gym owner, your favorite gym had their owners arrested, pressing that button is sending that big FU. Michael Moore said it.
Yep.
And you know what's funny? Michael Moore gave this great speech, and boy, was he wrong in the end, but he was right in the beginning, where he said that, come November 9th, people are going to go in the voting booth, and they are going to send the largest collective FU to the establishment ever recorded in history. And they'll enjoy it.
Maybe for the time, because I have a feeling that this, like you said, Democrats only have what did they say? They've gone against every single election that wasn't a landslide, and it was only 2 times.
Yeah,
right?
2 landslides.
Trump 2020 landslide. It's going to happen, man. It's going to happen.
Michael Moore said they'll send the collective FU and they'll be happy for a week, maybe a month. And then, like the people of the UK, they'll realize, and then he goes off talking about how bad it is and how they'll regret it.
Yeah, until the economy shot up.
No, this is important.
Okay, go ahead.
He said the people in the UK regretted voting Brexit, except on December 13th, 2019, after Brexit wasn't getting done for 3 years, they sent another collective FU. And there were areas of the country in the UK that hadn't voted Conservative in 90 plus years, turned red. And it was a political bloodbath. So Michael Moore was wrong. He was correct when he said they'd go in there and send the FU to the establishment. But if we follow the same path as the UK, then we should see a landslide. The polls were wrong about Brexit. The polls were wrong about the Conservative victory. And they were way off. They did lean towards a Conservative, winning, but they thought the Conservatives in the UK wouldn't get enough to actually have a majority, and they would be stopped by a coalition party. That's how Parliament works. And they were wrong. It was a crushing defeat, sending shockwaves through Europe even. And then Brexit happened, boom, a month later.
Yep.
Brexit is done. It's going to be a transitional period. If we follow suit, the polls are wrong, the politicos are wrong, and we might see another one of these epic landslides.
Red wave.
More than that, like a 49 state landslide.
Yeah.
So here's my theory, which I mentioned the other day. When times are good, people don't get active. The silent majority hangs out and says, I don't care about politics. Like that comic where the guy's in the guillotine, he says, I don't really care for politics. But what happens when you have 4 years of absolute psychosis, and then the last year, 2020, is the worst it's ever been? And it's not Trump's fault. Trump gave you the best economy of your lives.
Yep.
But all of a sudden now, they look, it's one thing if Russiagate was true. Then people would be like, wow, Trump did wrong. Instead, the Democrats were wrong.
Yeah,
they were wrong.
Not only were they wrong, they're the ones who caused it. They're the ones who started it illegally.
Yeah.
Trying to basically a coup on a sitting president.
They were wrong. And so everybody said, all that for what? They were wrong about Jussie Smollett. They were wrong about Covington. They were wrong about Ukrainegate. Impeachment failed. Yep. And at this point, there's probably some people who blame Trump, but I imagine there's a lot of people saying the Democrats need to stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Well, now they're trying to blame COVID on Trump. It's like, how? He's locked down, and the Democrats ridiculed him for locking down when he did. He tried to help mandate everything, and they're like, you can't tell us what to do.
Yep.
We're going to go walk around in Chinatown. Pelosi, walk around in Chinatown. Everything's great, everybody. Like, no,
and de Blasio.
I can't believe Trump is going to lock everything down. Now she's calling it the Trump virus. Get out of here, Pelosi. I can't wait for you to be voted out.
You factor this in with the fact that there were mass riots. Jake Paul getting raided, famous YouTuber getting raided for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the governors of your state marching with these people. What do you think a regular person is going to be thinking when they're listen, man? I've heard stories about what's going on for people who've lost their jobs, and it's terrifying. It terrifies me. I mean, scares me. Some of these stories break my heart. I was reading a story about one guy who lived with his girlfriend, and they lost their jobs because they worked in the service industry. Their savings dried up, and now they're just throwing away all their furniture because they have nowhere to go and they have to move. They can't afford moving companies, and they're getting out of the cities. And I'm like, that's a nightmare for a lot of people. Some of them probably blame Trump. But the ones who've been paying attention are look, people don't understand at the national level. These politicos, this is what I'm talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. Because they live in D.C., they assume that the federal government is literally everything.
Yep.
But they don't understand. When I watch cable TV here in South Jersey, I get commercials for local news. Local news is what comes on after watching certain shows. And the local news talks about the governor of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, not Donald Trump. And I'm not hearing from local outlets and local papers and people I live next to who are saying, man, did you see what Donald Trump did? No, they're saying, do you see what Murphy did?
Yeah.
They're talking about the Democrats. So I imagine you're like these politicos in DC don't understand that at a local level, people actually pay attention to who their council people are, look, in Seattle, they're calling into the council meetings complaining about the radical experiment of defunding the police. They're not calling Trump. They're not blaming Trump for that. This is what I think these DC people don't get. They all follow each other. They see the news about the federal government, SCOTUS, Congress, and Trump, and they think that's all anyone cares about.
Yeah, because all the mainstream media have all the connections to the money. You know, the establishment. They all are connected in their own little bubble. And they're like, tell all the news to push out this narrative because we need the people to believe this. And then they're doing that, and the people are like, sorry, we don't listen to that anymore. We realize that that's BS. So we're not going to fall prey to that. So
I think
people are waking up.
I think it's less nefarious than that. The study that I was citing before found that in cable TV, Fox, MSNBC, and CNN, all these producers, they still talk to each other on Twitter. So they share the same guests, and even though they claim like Fox News is fake news, but MSNBC is better, and then other people are like, no, MSNBC is Fox News. At the professional level, these people are all talking to each other.
So it's not malicious; it's ignorance.
They're in bubbles.
Yeah,
they are in isolated bubbles. Man, it's really crazy. Look, when I started Twitter, I curated some activists, some conservative outlets, and some mainstream outlets, and some leftist outlets. These people, when they get on Twitter, is they immediately follow their friends.
Yep.
So the only things they see on Twitter, what they think is real life, are the things their friends are talking about.
Good point.
Then, because all their friends are complaining about Trump, they don't realize regular people in Pennsylvania. Dude, I was in PA and I can't remember who I was talking to, but they did not care about Trump. They were talking about, I don't know who the governor of PA is. Who's the governor of PA? Is it Wolf?
I think. Yeah.
They were like, can you believe what this guy's doing? And I was like, what's he doing? And they were like, oh, dude, it's been a disaster. He's out marching with these people.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, interesting. What do you think about Trump? And they're like, what's Trump doing? He's not, like, I live in PA, you know?
Right.
People don't get it, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of my former Facebook friends that were reaming me out for saying I'm going to vote for Trump went ahead and also complained about Gavin Newsom a lot. Like, they were ripping him apart. And I'm like, how are you... Like, do you realize what Trump's doing is trying to help you? And Gavin Newsom is trying to sell out your state?
But it's not even about that, right? I'm saying you can absolutely hate Trump.
Yeah.
But do you think they're going to vote for Gavin Newsom again?
No, definitely not.
Exactly.
Absolutely
now,
not.
I still think they'll vote Democrat. They'll just primary him from someone further left, and the downward spiral continues.
Right.
But this is the point I'm making, that even the people who hate Trump, there's going to be a reaction against the local level Democrats.
Wow.
Like Gavin Newsom. So that's why I think what we might see is akin to the UK. Not because Trump is going to, landslide everything, but because we're going to see something really interesting shift. So we recently learned that progressives, a couple progressives just beat, in their primaries, they beat the incumbent Democrats.
Yeah.
And that is a part of it.
I saw that.
They're angry about what the Democrats are doing, and they're voting for change. But the only direction they know to go is the left because, the right is evil, I suppose. I do think, however, the suburbs are not going to view it that way. And they're going to be like Trump. So Trump will probably landslide. We'll see, though, man. Cheating is a factor. Mail-in vote failure is a factor. 25% of the ballot in Brooklyn being disqualified is a factor. So who knows what's going to happen? I genuinely believed that Trump would not win in 2016, not because he didn't have the support, but because they wouldn't let him win. Either through, dirty games or hard manipulation of the vote.
Yeah.
Like, I've known about vote box hacking for a long time. Some like teenager at a hacking convention hacked a voting box, a digital voting booth.
Yeah, I remember that.
In like a couple hours or something.
Right.
So it's like, dude, I'm not confident at all. And then it turns out they actually did cheat. They colluded with other establishment organizations like CNN giving the questions to Hillary, so they could try and stop Bernie Sanders and try and stop Trump, but they weren't enough.
Yeah.
Too many people were addicted to Trump.
Well, now they made ballot harvesting legal in California, I think, and in Nevada they're trying it also.
We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
The media, they definitely have allies in media who will try and stop anyone having these conversations. But yeah. Look, in 2018, I was thinking about this. I'm like, I said that I thought the Republicans were going to sweep.
Yeah.
And then early on, the initial reporting was that Republicans, for the most part, did. But then they started saying, oh, found some ballots. Oh, found some more ballots.
Oh, here's some. I found them in Biden's basement.
They started finding ballots all over the place. And then all of a sudden, all these Democrats ended up winning. And then there was the blue wave.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird.
Sketchy.
Early on, I was very much just like, well, wow, the mail-in ballots, I didn't expect that. Should have waited. Now we're at this point where we're seeing all these votes get disqualified. And I'm like, could it be that you have corrupt people? I'm not talking about some like grand conspiracy where Hillary's got puppet strings. I'm talking about you get one dude who's got Trump derangement syndrome, and he looks at a ballot and he can see it's Republican, and he goes, "This one's I don't think the signature is right." They throw it in the garbage. Or what happens if one post office worker sees a big box and it's from a heavy Republican district.
Yeah.
And he just looks around and he kicks it under a desk.
Hey, what's really funny?
What?
So I saw a stat. I didn't have a chance to check it, but I read something like 76% of postal workers are actually Republicans. Whoa. So if you don't want the election to be rigged in favor of the Republicans, you should probably just not do mail-in voting.
I just think ultimately we are not prepared for mail-in voting.
Well, we're not.
Well,
and it's going to be.
I mean, if the masks work and we could go shopping at Walmart, why can't we go stamp a freaking thing?
Yeah, go riot.
It doesn't make any sense.
Voting is more essential than anything else in this country.
100% agree with you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, maybe if you're like bleeding to death, we can rush you to the hospital and got to wear a mask.
Well,
I mean,
if we got certain members of our government that are selling out our country, it's awfully important to me.
Yeah,
and that's what it seems like what's happening.
This is the big question, man. How big is the silent majority? How active are they?
Yep.
And are they going to crawl over broken glass to make sure Trump wins? Because
Definitely.
every obstacle is being thrown in everyone's path.
It's emboldening everyone. Everyone's going, bring it on, Democrats. We don't care. At least that's me. I like to only speak for myself, but I see it out there. But I know I'm gonna go out there and I will walk over glass to vote. Absolutely.
Somebody I know posted a meme from the Biden campaign about all of the bad things Trump has done and like all the problems.
A meme.
Yeah, of course. Of course. So I went through
wonderful.
it. I went through it point by point.
Yeah.
Breaking everything down and basically fact checking all of these nonsensical claims.
Of course.
First of all, they said, the COVID deaths, and I was like, well, 10th Amendment, right? Trump doesn't have the authority to go to the states and dictate what they can do or can't do during a pandemic. So can you really blame him, especially with Cuomo?
Well, and he tried to help also.
Right. I posted the link to Andrew Cuomo from ProPublica saying he was responsible for 6,500 deaths by putting sick people. Then there was one about unemployment, and I'm like, Trump didn't make COVID happen. The Democrats are the ones who locked down their states and shut the economy down.
Yep.
Trump was opposed to that and said, open things back up.
Yeah.
So you can't blame him for this. And I go through this, and I'm like, I responded to each and every point, and the response I get was a nonsensical meme. Just another meme reaction face.
Just like some sort of anti-MAGA.
No.
That's what I see a lot.
It was a general reaction meme.
Oh, okay.
Just of like a And I'm like, I just broke all this down for you, all these lies from Biden's campaign about what's going on.
Yep.
There was only one thing on the list that I was like, yep, and it was the inflation of the national debt, and I was like, yep. Trump said he was going to knock it down. It was going to go down,
failed.
And it's certainly gone way up. Yeah.
That makes me so mad. The
national
budget, yeah.
Well, now things are getting scary when it comes to the economics, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but at the same time, he's going after big tech companies that have this multinational, not paying taxes, kind of working the system to get out of the way, and he's going after those people. Maybe that will help bring our deficit down quite a bit.
We need, in my opinion, manufacturing back.
Absolutely, 100%.
We need to help the people here get jobs because the competition in labor market will allow people to get better wages. We want the pressure to be on the business owners, not on the job seekers.
Yeah.
The job seekers should be excited that there's always a new job around the corner.
Yep.
And these businesses are fighting to get the best talent.
Well, you know what? There's going to be a good future in? A couple things. Glass. Because all these glass of every company has been, I mean, it's funny, and it's sad, but it's true.
Hold on. Can you explain why?
Well, the rioters have been breaking glass everywhere. I mean, everyone knows this.
Yeah.
Now, concrete, no joke, concrete, and learning maybe like what's going to be the advances of concrete. Our infrastructure needs a rehaul.
Yep.
Our dams, there's over 3,000 dams that provide energy for our country. Like you know about Three Gorges Dam right now and what's going on there. They built that and finished it in 2008, and it's already could be crumbling like right now. Right. So it's only 12 years old, right? And the dams in our country have been around, average is about 50 years old, okay? And with a shelf life of 57 years. So in the next 7 years, a lot of our energy structures, the dams, are going to need to be rehabbed.
Yep.
So there's going to be a boost. We're going to have to take care of that, or else our energy is going to go away. So concrete, learning how to construction, trade, electricity, heating and air conditioning. If you talk about, global warming, what's up, Boku? And, we're going to need trade is a huge thing. I'm just giving a little tips for people who are looking for what to work for. And it's like, those are all things that are going to be needed.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.